Hey everyone, how are you doing? So this is Billy, and I am nearing the finish line of my liquid diet. This is actually day 14, and it hasn't been too bad actually. There's been twice that I can think of when I've had, well, one day I woke up hungry a couple of days ago. Once I had breakfast, being the protein shake. It went away, so it was short-lived, and then the next day, around lunchtime, I started feeling hungry, but there were some people cooking some amazing or reheating some amazing food at my office, and so that could have contributed a little bit. But other than those 2 points, it's been not as bad as I expected. I've been very strict with it. I haven't cheated at all. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kinda proud of myself because I'm the type that before I would find an excuse to snack, right? Celebrate little victories with a little bit of sweetness. That was my typical go-to previous to starting this journey. Um, I think what was hardest was, making sure that I had everything ahead of time, making sure to order everything and that it was here. Some of the Greek yogurt, of course, making sure that everything is refrigerated. I would pack my lunch for the next day, the night before, so that way it was ready to go. So I would wake up, have a cup of coffee, have my morning shake, and hit the road and go into the office. All in all, that's actually not too bad. I was expecting it to be a lot harder, but I understand that everyone's going to have different struggles. My struggles are going to be somewhere else, and I'm sure of that. So as I s started going into it, though, it got easier as it went along. So it started out pretty well and eventually became routine. So that was pretty good. And I can't say anything more about it, right? It seemed pretty easy, for me at least. And again, everyone's gonna have a different experience with it. So weight loss, I think last time I checked in, I was down 37 pounds. As of right now, I'm down 39 total pounds since I began this whole process. So that's been great. My pants are fitting looser. I actually got a belt. It's a sliding belt. So as I continue to lose weight, I don't have to keep buying more belts. I can just buy the same belt, or I keep using the same belt. So that's been kinda cool to see. As when I first bought the belt, it's one of those web belts, but it's black, it's nice. It has a nice buckle, so it's appropriate for wearing in a business setting or a dress setting. But it's still like the web belts. If you were in Cub Scouts or Boy Scouts, you know the type of belt that I'm talking about. So it's one of those, it's just jet black, black on black. So it goes pretty well with black slacks and whatever. But when I first started, and I would put it was just enough to where just a tiny little bit was hanging out the other side of the buckle, and as I went through the process, it got more and more and more and more, and so now there's about 4 inches, that are hanging out when I put on my belt. Energy shifts, so I'm not gonna lie, some nights, when you're only consuming, like, 950 calories, there are some evenings when I get tired a little bit earlier than I usually do, but it's not too bad. So I think a couple of times I've taken a nap and that's been it. But again, this is temporary, so I know it's going to change. And as I adapt to it, I expect to have less of those. But you never know. I read about some people that because they are on this restricted calorie intake afterward, that they do have problems with energy. So I will definitely mention it if it becomes a more frequent occurrence after this. So I am now in the last 36 hours before I have the procedure. So a day and a half away. So after it's about 7:30 right now, 7:30, not tomorrow, but the following morning, I actually go in for surgery. So I'm not gonna lie, kind of nervous. Again, as I've mentioned in previous videos, I'm nervous just because I've never had a major surgery before. I've only had scopes. I've never had a surgery where I've actually been cut into and I had incisions that needed to heal. So this is going to be a new experience and I don't know what to expect. But I'm also excited that this feels like the it feels I don't wanna say it's the culmination of the journey because really the journey is gonna begin after this process, right after I had the surgery, but it feels like the closing of one chapter and the opening and I would say that chapter would be the prologue, if anything, and then the rest of the book is yet to be written, and so I'm excited to see where things go. So, as I said, my surgery 7:30 in the morning. I have to be at the hospital at 5:30 in the morning to get checked in for them to do everything they need to do. So I'm pretty sure if I'm not first on the schedule, I'm pretty close to being first. There's a couple of reasons why I like this. Originally, I was scheduled for 1 p.m. surgery. And when they called and asked if I wanted to move it up to 7:30 because they had a cancellation, I said yes, right? First of all, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to get very much sleep the night before just because of nerves. So it's kind of nice to know that that sleepless night is going to be short because I'm going to go in and have the procedure. Um, and then also it gives me because I know I'm going to have to be in the hospital an entire day. I kind of feel grateful that I'm going to have an entire day in the hospital, so that way uh, I can I can have a full day before being sent home to make sure that I hit the milestones that I need to before I can be discharged. So I find comfort in that. It's weird. I've never really had to stay overnight in the hospital, so this is going to be my first overnight stay as well. But I actually like the thought that immediately preceding the surgery, I'm going to have a full day with doctors and nurses around, so that way they can make sure everything's right in the way it's supposed to be. So I actually kind of like that. Um, so yeah, so I'm ready for this in this, you know, beginning of the next phase of the journey. So my hopes and expectations, of course, is I hope to lose weight. As I've mentioned on a previous video, I have another procedure that's being done at the same time. It's actually the same procedure, but it's going to take care of two issues. So I'm really looking forward to that. Uh, and yeah, it's I'm excited about this. So I'm hoping that as the weight comes down, my energy comes up, I'll be able to do more stuff. I'll feel more energetic, more open to being active. I really look forward to being active. I plan on being active because what's the point if I can't enjoy the new lighter me, right? So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Um, yeah. So yes, that's my hope and expectation. I'm pretty sure when I wake up, I'm going to be sore. If so, I'm expecting to be sore. I'm hoping it's not too bad. The people I've talked to who have had this procedure before, some are like, "Nope, you don't feel it at all because you're sedated and or have painkillers and such." And then others say, "No, it hurts," but then they give you the painkillers and you don't really mind. So again, I'm not sure what to think about it. I'm hoping for quick recovery and good healing. I know that because it's small incisions that they're going to do, it should be fairly quick. I've been reading the procedure. I've gone onto YouTube and actually have watched the procedure just to kind of get a better understanding of what's going to happen. What's interesting is that it's a fairly short procedure. The ones I've seen have been like an hour and a half, 2 hours from beginning to end. And it's like, that's amazing that it's become such a routine surgery that it's quick, right? Uh, Even when you consider the fact that they are cutting away 75% of your stomach, they're stitching up that remaining area and they're pulling the rest of the stomach out, and it could be done in just a couple of hours. So, um, but all in all, it's as I listen to the surgeons who perform this procedure, as I look at the testimonials from the patients who have had it, every single one of them says, "Hey, it was life changing," and that they wish they would have done it sooner. And I haven't even had the procedure, and I wish I would have done this 10 years ago. But I think the time is right. There's a reason why now was the time to actually have the surgery. So I guess that's really it. I plan on doing another video tomorrow to talk about preparing as I prepare my bag to go to the hospital in the morning. Talk about some of the things I'm going to bring with me, some of the feelings I'm feeling as we go there. I As much as I would like to have a video coming out of the procedure, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that or not. So we'll see where it goes. It depends on how lucid I feel after the whole procedure. But yeah, here we are. Last 36 hours before I start my next chapter. So thank you so much for being on this journey with me. If you have any comments, please leave them. And thank you so much. All right. Take care, everyone. Have a good night.